welcome back. We are back with another episode of the Pristine Connections podcast. I'm here with Chris McDaniel with Pristine Roofing and Remodeling. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you back again. Let's just catch up a little bit. What's been going on in the roofing and remodeling industry so far?
Just a lot of roofs. I mean, some remodels, but a lot of roofs. I mean, we had a couple of big storms this year. Last March was a really big one in the middle of March 14th. And then May, we got hit again with kind of tornadic activity. And then recently, just a couple of two weeks ago, we got another hailstorm. So We've had some significant weather this year, which obviously affects folks' homes.
For sure.
Which is roofs and gutters and fences and things of that nature.
Yeah,
so it's been very busy.
I forgot about that hailstorm recently. I was thinking about like all the wind that we got last night too. I mean, I wasn't much, but it blew right in. So
Sure.
So let's talk about, what are some trends that you're starting to see with the roofing side of things? Same with remodeling. We can just tag team back and forth on that.
On the roofing side, some of the trends that I see is just educating the process to homeowners on how things work, because they just sometimes don't know. And that's okay, because they've never done a roof before, so how would they know?
Right.
So if they contact their insurance company and then they get a check, then they think that they go out and get estimates from a roofing company, which that's not how it works at all, especially if they're going to be working with a reputable roofing company like ours. We don't really give an estimate in that case. We just do it for whatever the insurance company is willing to pay. So and we'll never invoice a homeowner for any more than that.
Okay.
So it's just really educating a homeowner on how the process works, because it is a process. And they're dealing with their insurance. We are dealing with their insurance at great length to make sure that they get made whole again. On the remodeling side, it's really a lot of the same. It's open concept. It's light, bright, white oak floors, white walls, waterfall on islands for countertops and stuff, so it's a lot of the same.
Okay, that's great. You had talked about insurance and claims, so let's kind of talk about that for a little bit, because I know you're passionate about that. You like to help educate homeowners on that. So talk about the claims process for homeowners and how you handle those situations.
Well, what they sometimes just simply don't understand, because once again, they've never been through this before, every carrier kind of does things differently, right? And if I go out with a homeowner and I say, yes, you have storm-related damage on your roof, that really doesn't mean much, meaning the carrier has to come out and see that and agree. So we had a house in Salina, for example, that I went up and inspected. I told the homeowner, you've got significant damage. If I was you, I would file a claim because you have enough damage for it to get approved, in my opinion. She had State Farm. They came out, they looked at it and said there's absolutely zero damage. So then it was a 3-month process of having them come out and re-inspect. And then when they came out and re-inspected, the gentleman that did the re-inspect from State Farm was like, there's damage everywhere.
Yeah.
And looking at us like, how did this get missed? And I'm like, I don't know, it was y'all that missed. But a homeowner has a relationship with their carrier for sometimes weeks, months, and years, and they don't know me. So they're going to listen to their carrier. And I understand that. Even though we take photos and we take videos and show them in real time right when we get off the roof, I understand why they quote unquote side with their carrier, but it's because insurance is a for-profit business. They don't want to pay claims.
Right.
Even if it's at the detriment of losing a potential customer.
Sure.
But we've had 2 instances where that has happened, and we just had to educate the homeowner. This is a process. Sometimes this is just how it works, and it doesn't mean that the insurance company is bad or they're trying to take the homeowner for. It doesn't mean any of that. It's just they all operate a little bit differently, and if they have to get another set of eyes on it, they have to get another set of eyes. And then it ultimately got approved for a full roof replacement.
Right.
And the homeowner was ecstatic. They said, oh, my Lord, I can't believe it got flipped like that. And we told them, we don't tell a homeowner to file a claim. We don't encourage them to unless we think there's enough damage.
Sure.
It's a waste of their time. It's definitely a waste of our time.
And deductibles are higher.
Yes, exactly. So it ultimately makes us look bad. However, we don't make that determination, and we really try to help tell a homeowner in real time with pictures while we get down from the roof. This is what we see up there, and this is all storm related. So you should file a claim because this is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Your shingles are just going to deteriorate because things have happened. And so, but we have to tell them, it's ultimately up to your carrier. And knock on wood, since the big storm that we had in March, the really big one that we had this year, we are at such a high approval rate. It's insane because we only tell homeowners if they really should file a claim. We're very transparent.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's huge. But I've heard State Farm's notorious for the way they handle their roofing claims.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked for farmers for a while, and you just learn the differences in the different carriers, especially now that a lot of them are pulling back. Some are getting a little bit stricter on what is approved and what's not. So I feel like all homeowners just also need a deep dive into insurance too.
Yeah, and some carriers have left Texas for that reason, for homeowners insurance, because of the weather that we have, right? I mean, it's not me saying that. It's a fact that we have that kind of weather. So I get it. Like, I genuinely get it. It's our job to not impress a homeowner, but impress upon them the process of how this works. And I say process because it's a process. Yeah. Not every claim is the same. Not everyone goes extremely smoothly. I mean, there is kind of an ABC that we follow, but sometimes we have to do A, B, M, jump back to G, and then go to, because that's what the carrier is asking for, and we're glad to do that.
What's the time frame typically, for that process from start to finish? I know y'all can put a roof on it a day, but as far as the claims goes.
Yeah, I mean, from the day the homeowner files a claim to the time that they get their last check from a carrier, because they now get multiple checks. Carriers don't just send out one big check and then say, go get your roof done. Because that's when homeowners were keeping those funds and not fixing their roofs, right? So I don't want to say it was fraud, but that's what was happening. And so now they release those funds in stages. So from start to finish, best case scenario, 30 days. But it really depends on what the carrier, because I have an in-house supplement team that looks at all the scopes of damages from carriers, and we hold them accountable, right? Yeah. So if they counted the roof wrong as far as the materials goes, we tell the carrier, no, you counted it wrong. This is the amount of shingles we need. This is the underlayment that we need. We need drip edge. We need starter shingles. We need X, Y, and Z to have this done to code and to be done correctly with a warranty. And so if a carrier pushes back on that, we just then have to educate the homeowner. Your carrier's pushing back, but this is what your house had originally. Now your carrier doesn't want to pay for it, so now there's just time. So best case scenario, 30 days. Worst case is 90, but that's if they have a bunch of damage to their roof, if there's also gutters, if there's fencing, if there's HVAC damage, if there's window screens, all that stuff, because then it's just us scheduling our staff to get out there and repair those in a timely fashion once the carrier has approved it.
Right. So the hurricanes that just happened, I think there's a huge misunderstanding nationwide about how stuff like that works when it comes to your own roofing issues,
sure.
And claims getting filed, because now insurance carriers are backed up. I know you and I talked about that a little bit. So will you touch on what
of course
will happen here soon?
So if you live in Texas, if you live around North Dallas, and if we encourage you to file a claim and you do, and then your carrier doesn't get back with us, it's because they are dealing with 911 emergencies in Florida. Yeah. So that means sometimes they are mobilizing their adjusters to the state of Florida. So they don't have adjusters here to inspect a roof, right? So you file a claim, the insurance company, State Farm, Farmers, Travelers, whatever, they're not going to go off our pictures. They're always going to send an adjuster out. Now, sometimes that adjuster is a third-party adjuster because the CAT team is now involved, which that means it's a catastrophic event, so they send a third party out. But that just takes time. Yep. That's all. It just takes time. And so if there is a natural disaster like what the folks in Florida are dealing with now, that does affect us greatly. It also affects us even if we file a claim and the adjuster comes out and approves it, and then we say, well, you missed XYZ line item. Well, that adjuster that's now the desk adjuster, the person that's in-house, is maybe not available because they're dealing with claims times 10 in Florida or wherever that once again are 911 type, people need to eat, people need because their houses are destroyed. So we obviously understand that, and it's the carrier doesn't always address that or educate the homeowner that's why there's delays. So we kind of take the ball and run with it and tell the homeowner and just educate them.
Which is great. Let's talk about estimating a roof project. Can you kind of walk me through what that looks like?
Sure. We don't really quote unquote estimate a lot of roofs. And the reason I say that, because that's a really good question, because I get that asked by a lot of homeowners. If a homeowner has a roof that has storm-related damage that the carrier is going to cover, we are going to re-roof their house for what the carrier pays. So what a homeowner doesn't understand is we don't give them an estimate. That estimate comes from their carrier. And it's actually illegal for me to negotiate price with their carrier. I'm going to do it for what their carrier is willing to pay. Yeah. Okay. And that's 95% of the roofs that we do. Now, I do, because I've been in real estate since 2018, I have a couple of realtors that I deal with at great length that they have houses that go on the market and it may or may not pass a home inspection, which is a totally different parameter than if it's got storm-related damage. If a house isn't going to pass a home inspection because the roof is just old, but it hasn't been hit with hail, then insurance isn't going to cover that. It's just an old roof. So then I do give an estimate. So we pull in an Eagle View Skycam with a GPS satellite and tells us the size of the roof, the cuts and the valleys, and then we give what we call a cash estimate for a roof.
Okay.
But those are very specific instances, and we do that, and we're happy to do that. But generally speaking, what a homeowner needs to understand is we're going to do it what the carrier pays, and we're not going to invoice the homeowner to any more than that.
Yeah.
They just pay their deductible, and that's it. Whatever the carrier says that they're willing to pay is what we do their project for. So
Okay.
the carrier sets the cost, not us.
Okay. Yeah, you just see a lot of roofing companies. So like free estimates, just like left and right. Like, let me just walk your roof,
Sure.
And there might be like just the very minimal damage, you
Sure.
know, or a lot of damage that homeowners actually didn't realize. So
And there is sometimes damage that we tell the homeowner and they say, okay, well, great. Well, my deductible is $6,000, but it's $2,000 worth of repair work. So then if they want us to do the repair work, we will. There's no issue with that, especially if they obviously have an interior leak, because that's a completely different animal. Yeah. But it's just then we're patching brand new materials into old materials. So warranty kind of goes by the wayside because I can't warranty my work when I'm patching it into a roof that's 12 years old. Right?
Yeah.
So then we just, once again, it's just a process of educating a homeowner. We're not changing the tires on a car that are kind of independent, from the gas tank. It's a roofing system that all go together, the ventilation system, everything. So, but we do repairs as well, and we do repairs all the time. But if somebody is in need of a repair job, we do want to give them a full inspection to make sure that, hey, maybe this is going to be covered by your carrier for an entire new roof, because that's when warranty comes into play. And that's the most beneficial for the homeowner, not us. That's the most beneficial for the homeowner.
Perfect. I love that. So when it comes to, putting on new roofs and stuff, how do you see, technology changing kind of the way roofs are put on, the materials that you guys use? Is there new advanced roofing shingles coming out, that y'all might be using? We
do a lot now of impact resistant level 3 shingle. So I tell homeowners, because obviously since we live in North Texas, I hear a lot of homeowners say, gosh, we just re-roofed 6 years ago and it was supposed to last 25 years. Well, in theory, the shingle will last 25 years for degradation purposes, right? But not if you're getting blasted with wind and hail every year, multiple times a year. So we now have educated them on the different levels of shingles, which, there's a traditional 3-tab, architectural, and then impact level 3 or impact level 4. We educate them that we can put this on, but this is not what you had originally. So there's an uptick in price because we just replace like for like. That's what your carrier is going to pay for. But if you want a better shingle, we tell them that. We only use synthetic underlayment. We don't use the traditional felt that's 15 or 30 pound. Even if that's what the homeowner has, which that's normally what they have, we always put synthetic on there because it's our name on the line too. I mean, even if the carrier's not going to cover that, we do those types of things because we're the ones warranting it. We want to make sure that we're using as best of materials as possible. Sure.
You say trade like for like, but aren't there certain HOAs that stipulate what color shingle you can have?
So if I re-roof a house where the consumer has a HOA, then if we can color match because we can tell what's on there now. It's weatherwood or it's granite black, or we can tell what they have. Even if they have a different brand of shingle, we can match it to what we use. That's no problem there. But that comes into play with gutters as well, and then staining their fence. We just do like for like. I mean, my staining crew can tell what color that stain is because they've been doing it for a long. I mean, they're professionals at what they do, so they can look at it.
Yeah.
Same with our gutter guy. My gutter guy, he can come out with swatches and give you 35 different color samples of what you want, but he can look at it and say that's traditional AYO green or that's XAB cream, and then just do like for like. But if there's an HOA involved, we normally encourage the homeowner, unless they want to go through their HOA and get a different color of roofing shingle. We can do that. And normally there's no upcharge for just a different color, as long as it's just in the same quality area.
Okay.
And then if they don't have an HOA, then we let them pick whatever they want, as long as there's no cost difference for them.
That's good to know. So what are some common pitfalls that you're starting to see in the roofing business or roofing companies make?
Well, a lot of it just has to do with longevity of the roofing company itself and offering a warranty. If a homeowner files a claim on their own and they didn't have a roofing company originally inspect their roof, what homeowners sometimes just don't understand is that how it's supposed to work is they contact a reputable roofing company. We come out, we do an inspection, and then when the insurance company sends their guy out, we have to be there during that inspection. We have to. Because when he gets up on the roof and says, oh, there's no damage, there's no homeowner that's going to get up on the roof and combat the insurance carrier, right? Yeah. We get up on the roof with them. It's called an adjuster appointment. We get up there, and we say very respectfully, if this isn't hail damage, then what is it?
Yeah.
Because it looks like somebody bounced a baseball on top of their roof. And nobody came up here and bounced a baseball on top of the roof, so it's hail, right? I mean, so it's just that whole educational process. So a pitfall that I see not a lot of roofing companies do, they're just roofers that are fly-by-night, is if you're a homeowner and you didn't contact a roofing company first, you get a check from your carrier, a first check, because there's more money at the back end, and then you get a check for $15,000. So now you're just going to try to find a roofing company to re-roof your house for $15,000 or whatever that is. And if they're going to do it for that initial check amount and not worry about the back end funds, then you're not going to get a warranty. I don't care what the guy says. Ask how long he's been in business. Mm-hmm. Is he actually insured? Yeah. Things of that nature. Yeah. We don't storm chase. I have a lot of friends that are in this industry that go down to other areas of Texas, whether it's Austin or Houston or whatever, when a storm hits, to re-roof a house. And they're good, reputable company. They're good guys. But we don't do that. I don't storm chase. There's enough damage here. The owner of the company lives here locally. I live here locally. My entire staff, we are members of the community. Yeah. I mean, we want to make our fellow neighbors whole again. And there's enough damage because of the storms that we've had. So just this year alone, there's enough damage here for us to have to storm chase from a financial perspective.
Yeah. Is it hard to, I guess, talk with homeowners about being a credible company because there are so many storm chasers?
It is, and it's just because it's like if you go eat dinner at a restaurant and you had a bad experience, you'll probably never go back, and you'll share that experience with your friends, right? And so if it was an Italian restaurant, then maybe other Italian restaurants just get lumped into that. But it's never, I had a good experience, so now all good roofers are good. Right. That never happens. Right. And I understand that. I'm a consumer as well. Yeah. So I see it from both sides. But it is... It can be a shady business, just contracting in general, which is why I got into it in 2018, was because I got taken advantage of. And then now I just run my own projects. You know, when I tell homeowners kind of my story, it, I think, sometimes resonates and says, oh, yeah, so you're in this? I'm like, I was right there with you. I understand it. And so I have a claims process that we leave with the homeowners. It's a 15-step claims process, so they understand this is step 1, we're on step 4, this is the next step. We go over it with them whenever we initially do an inspection, but then we leave it with them. So then if they have any questions, because I can't say this enough, it's a process. So then they can say, okay, we're on step 8 now, so this is what's going to happen next. And so we're always available for phone calls and text messages and emails, but they may be looking at that piece of paper at 10 o'clock on a Friday night with their spouse, say, okay, well, what's next? Yeah. Because they just don't remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is a process. For sure. Well, that's great. I love that y'all have those processes in place. So as far as, the remodel side, where do you foresee some of the trends going into 2025? I know it's different from like interior designers, but you're still heavily involved in the design.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I source all of my cabinetry and all of my stone, or at least most of it, all from the same source in Farmers Branch, because they keep up on the cabinetry colors that are the most popular. Yeah. Natural wood colors, specifically white oak cabinetry, is extremely popular now. I love that. Doing mixed metals in a bathroom, where that was taboo a few years ago, is now extremely popular. Yeah. Where you have matte black as a faucet color, but then you go with a silver or a chrome as a faucet color in the shower that doesn't match the sink faucet. So mixed metals, although from a design standpoint, I don't like that, but it's a big trend right now. Yeah. It's still light and bright, and it will still be light and bright for a while, but specifically like with cabinetry, white is going by the wayside a little bit, and they're mixing white with black. So, white uppers and black lowers, or white uppers and natural oak lowers, or a cabinet, an island that's white oak and then white uppers. There's a lot of mixing and matching.
I've seen some like really pretty, like olive green cabinetry with gold. Yep. I don't know if that'll ever go away. I'm sure it would, but I think that's beautiful.
So blues and greens are really popular, specifically with cabinetry right now. However, that is a little trendy. Yeah. Meaning it was popular 7-8 years ago, and then kind of went out of favor, and then now it's back. So it does date your home a little bit, unless it comes back in when you're trying to resell your home. Yes. But traditional whites are never going to. I mean, they come in and out of popularity, but if you have white cabinets 15 years ago and 15 years from now, it's still going to be popular.
My sister's is turquoise. She bought the house that way. And at first she was like, this is kind of cool. And then the other day she was like, I think we're painting these. And I'm like, yeah, it's about time, I think.
Sure.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us that you'd like, everybody to know on the remodel side, roofing side?
Not necessarily, just really on the roofing side is that, if you're going to go with a roofing company, just make sure that you do your due diligence, make sure that they are insured, make sure that they have a home base here. We have an office. So when I deal with a consumer or a homeowner, I can tell them, my cell phone number is the same it's a Missouri phone number. I haven't lived in Missouri since 2016. So it's the same, like you can get a hold of me, right? We have a physical office that they can come in if they need to get a hold of, where a lot of roofing companies specifically don't have that. We have a physical address because we are not going anywhere.
Right.
That really makes a difference that I think sometimes people just don't understand that until you tell them and they're like, oh, well, that does make sense. Yeah. I mean, we are here for good.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.